Hey, hello. Okay, how are we doing? So, class number 6. So we're going to look at some fine points with the form. Hopefully now you know it. Okay, quite simply. So if you don't know the form, I really recommend you go back to number 1, 2, 3 and 4. Clarify the sequence, understand the postures, feel that you can do it without much kind of reiteration or watching the videos themselves. Okay, it's really wise to do that. Otherwise there's a lot of confusion. It's a pretty simple form to learn, but it has some levels which require a little bit more in-depth understanding of basic movement principles and movement principles according to Tai Chi. Okay, so right from the top. So I assume you've done some warm-ups, but we'll just do a little bit anyway, okay, to help you along. So we have some nice shaking movements, some breathing, okay. A lot of people hold their breath. It's quite a boring thing to teach breathing as a video, so I won't do that at this point, but make sure you're breathing regularly, okay. Having a sense of calming down. Feeling at ease. Another way of saying that is relaxing. Encouraging the body to relax, but not forcing it. You can't force yourself to relax, we all know that. So we calm the mind down, we calm the emotions, we breathe. This puts the body at ease. It really requires breath. We all know that. It's such a given, we sometimes forget that until we get into trouble with it. It's a nice sense, even bobbing up and down here, so that the belly is moving. The diaphragm underneath the lungs is moving. The chest is relaxed. Okay. Okay, just try that. Gentle bobbing up and down, loosening the arms. Nice in and out breath. So when you stop, and even if you've done some swings and some crane warm-ups, or even the end of the crane cool down, the breathing happens. For a lot of time, and I had to do the same way, you have to really focus on, okay, I need to breathe now, I need to, okay, move my belly, breathing in, release it, breathe out. But this can be practiced anywhere, particularly at night, before you go to sleep, lying in bed, practice some breathing techniques. Very good, very relaxing, will help deep sleep, okay? So today, we're going to look at two things. Primarily, we're going to look at bending the bow, or cocking the bow. If you get the book by Mantak Chia, it will call it cocking the bow, okay? So bending the bow, shooting the arrow, okay, and what that implies. So before I get into some movement sequences, the bows primarily are the bows of your spine, because it can bend like a bow. Yeah? It can expand backwards and forwards. It can pull back backwards, it can release forwards. It pulls like drawing a bow, and it can release like shooting an arrow. Secondary bows are the bows of the wrists, the elbows, the backs of the knees, and even the ankles. People also talk about the bows of the hands and the bows of the underside of the feet. Primarily, we're going to be looking at the bows of the back of the knees, the spine, and the elbows, okay, to make it clear. I'll include some breathing as we're doing that, but I'll try not to confuse the issue. So really be very clear, this is about bending the bow. All right? Okay, fantastic. Molly, how you doing? Right. So she's exactly where I want to be. So I will turn around and just kind of, can you go away? Good girl. Okay. So. Here's your first movement of bows. the bows of the elbows bend or cock. Okay? As you take an in-breath, you cock the bow, you bend the bow of the left knee. And as you step out, placing the foot and breathing out, you release the bows of the elbows and the left knee. All right? I breathe in. I step. I breathe out. I release the bows. I breathe in. The arms raise. The bow of the back pulls back. And if you can see a little bit, I'll exaggerate it a bit more. Not so much how I do it, but hopefully so you can see, because there's a lot of kind of illusion with filming, particularly my very long arms when I'm using a wide angle lens, okay? I shift my weight a little bit more into my heels as my spine rounds. Okay? So my weight is in the middle of my foot, slightly into the ball of my foot. It moves a little bit into my heel. Okay? Releases, goes out there. Okay, so remember, we have this movement in, out, in and down. So to draw my arms up, I draw the bow, and it'd be really great if I actually had a bow, and I might actually get hold of one. Okay, I draw the bow to bring my arms up. Now, the bow of the spine, the bow of the back of the knees, the bow of the elbows bend. If I really exaggerate, it's a kind of feeling like this. You see how my arms are drawn in, my knees are bent, my back is rounded. And notice how I have to adapt my chin slightly to drawing the bow by bringing it in. Otherwise, there's an issue where many people end up with their heads projecting forward even as they're drawing their arms in. So if you can hope you see, the line of my head to my feet is quite clear. My head is not forward of my feet, nor is it behind, all right? Bows of the elbows, bow of the left knee, release. Bow of the back, elbows, knees, release the knees, release the back, release the elbows. Drawing the bow, releasing the arrow. So to be very clear for your own body, do things like this. We all understand from quite an early age that we have to do repetitive action to learn something. That could be quite simply learning to cut a piece of bread with a knife. Okay? bend the bow to shoot the arrow, while being relaxed, while keeping the muscles soft, not tensing them up. You can see there's a little bit of me bending the bow of the palm. Don't worry too much if you can't feel that, okay? So for instance, everyone is very kind of pressed for time. So maybe, you know, you're waiting for your kettle to boil, to have your cup of tea, cocoa, whatever it is, coffee. Just practice simple beginning of using the bows, particularly about the connection between your elbows and your knees. That is, my elbows bend because my knees bend. Okay? My elbows bend because my knees bend. My elbows release because my knees release. All right? Elbows, left knee. Spine, shift the weight more into the heels. Bend the knees, bend the elbows. Release. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, spine drawing, hands go down. Okay. I've released. Hands come in. Hands go down. Then we bend the elbows just a little bit. We bend the knees a little bit as we go into turning the left foot and holding the ball. So at this point, see how very obviously you have bent elbows, and we say this elbow is sunk, slightly rounded bent wrists, okay, bent knees, and see how my back is not completely straight, it is rounded. So that as I sink into the left side, I can bend the bow of the right knee to lift the foot and step the heel. Okay, while keeping my balance on the left side. There's no weight on that foot yet, okay? It's just placed out. Transferring the weight, okay? The bow of the spine releases. And see how there's quite a subtle release of the knees and the elbows. Obviously it'd be far easier if they completely released. And we get that in a couple of postures, okay? Knees bent, spine rounded, elbows rounded, head in good position, release. bend the spine bow to draw back. And see how the bow of the right knee releases, almost in a sense pushing you back into the left foot. Bend the bow, shoot the arrow. Bend the bow. Now see how the release now is via the knees and the spine to make the arms release upwards. See how the right knee bow slightly extends, but it doesn't lock, okay? That's another thing that happens to a lot of people. They only know sort of like the A to Z of a movement of a joint. So the A is it bent, the Z would be locked. It's something in between, okay? Release, roll the ball, bend the left knee bow as you release the right knee bow to sit back. Now both bows are drawing in to release the hands up. So when I'm teaching this, I teach it very simply. We talk about rolling the ball, carrying the ball. It's just a very useful analogy to get people into their minds and their bodies at the same time about what if I had a ball and I rolled it in my hands and then I lifted it and carried it and then I squashed it, okay? So we can see now at this level there's a bit more involvement. So I'd really say at this point, if a little bit of grey matter is coming out of your ears about this, you pause, go and have a cup of tea, or if you're really not clear of the sequence, and it's, you know, it's not a big deal, we all learn at different levels, and I was always the student at the bottom of classes, or at least the first 10 years of my Tai Chi training, okay? So I really understand the need for going at your own pace, okay? But if you're not clear about the sequence of postures, do yourself a favour and make it very clear, because it's far easier, it's far more pleasant to learn, all right? Okay. The releasing of knees, spine, elbows to have a sense of this ball lifting, so that as I bend the bows, the hands come in. It's not me just bringing my hands in, it's the fact I'm bending the elbows, sinking, creating the bow of my back to then shoot the arrow. Shoot the arrow. Shoot the arrow. Okay? It's a release. As the waist turns to the left, but only so much as comfortable. If you're quite flexible, the waist turn will be so. But the waist, wherever you've got to, has to turn back to the front as you bend the bows to come into your press posture, which we call Ji, as you shoot the arrow. Shoot the arrow. So it's the action of your spine bow, your elbows bow, and your left knee bow. The right knee bow stays relatively stable. Yeah? Bend the bows. The right knee releases. It releases its pent up energy, its held energy. As the left knee, the left bow bends. As the spine bow bends. As the elbows bend. To release the left knee, elbows, spine, shoot the arrow. Yeah? Shoot, bend, shoot. Okay? Shoot, bend, shoot, bend. Okay? Our fish is in 8 posture. Release. So you've had shoot, bend the bows, the right knee releases, so you can turn on the right heel, bend the bows of spine, elbows, release. Bend, release. Yeah? Just exaggerating for you. Bend, turn, release. Bend, turn, release. Bend. See the right elbow bending, obviously very much wrist bending, right knee bending, spine bow bending. Left knee slightly pushes and releases so that you can balance. Turn. Release. Yeah? So you come round. Hopefully I'm in shot. You come round. See how the bows of the elbows, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, and the knee, right knee, spine, release. See how the right arm is virtually straight, but the left arm remains bent, okay? Yeah. Bent, bow of the spine, step, release. See how the left elbow has not completely straightened. Yeah. So again, you have 30 seconds, a minute or so. Bring your cuppa. Bend the bow to shoot the arrow. 10 times. 3, 4, 5, take it further in if you wish, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 9, 8, 7, 6, 10 kettle boils. Okay. It's this constant going over definite Tai Chi principles, and bend the bow is in all Tai Chi forms, okay, regardless of family, style, etc., new or old, it's all there, always, okay. This form is just quite easy to learn within because there's so few moves to actually remember. Personally, I think it's a fantastic form for that, okay. Taking one movement like push down, arm. It's a very nice rolling action. Draw the spine bow to draw the wrist, and certainly the elbow bows to release them. Yeah, again about 10 times. All right. So let's do that again. If we just think about the bows, it doesn't really happen. It has to be actually done, okay? So it's not some kind of idea of thinking about a bow and some kind of bow somewhere in my body does something. It's a definite feeling that I do something with my knees, my elbows, I do something with my knees, my spine, my elbows, my spine, my knees, that these parts are moving, which may sound a bit obvious. But after teaching now for too many decades, all right, it's very obvious that some people can have a sense of what they should do, but they still find that their body only moves in a very rigid fashion. Okay, and it's kind of a little bit debilitating, and no Tai Chi instructor ever wants any Tai Chi student to feel debilitated by learning, all right? But it becomes an issue. So when we're very clear about the sequence is slow, calm, at ease. Those things don't come naturally. They certainly did not come naturally to me, and certainly not, filming myself doing these things did not come naturally to me either, okay? It's all a process of what we do right at the beginning, that I calm down, that I start to breathe, that I become comfortable in doing that, and that becomes completely natural. In Taoism they call this ziran, naturalness. Okay, something that arises out of sometimes a process of unnaturalness. That is a learning process. And learning processes are always kind of difficult. I mean, we all have issues often around schooling, college, university, how things were very difficult at certain points and can be easier. Now Tai Chi is no different in terms of you come to it, and at first it can be actually quite bewildering in all the things that are required. So we come to something that's very simple that's not just Tai Chi. It's about really good health maintenance, isn't it? I calm down. I relax either before I breathe, or I relax as I breathe, or I breathe and then I relax, and then I invest time in feeling what that does. And I start a really simple process about shifting weight and feeling that. It's not an image of shifting weight, it's not an ideal of an appearance, it's what do I feel in my body? I feel my right leg doing more. Okay. Oh, my left leg is empty. This action makes my in-breath easier. The lungs exist front, side and back. Remember some of the earlier videos? I open the scapula and then I release. I breathe in, the lungs almost bend the bow of my spine, and then my breath out releases all the bows. My breath in bends the bows, releases the bows, bends the bows, releases the bows, etc. Yeah? Releases the bow, bends the bow, releases the bow, bends the bow, releases the bows, bends the bows, releases the bows, bends the bows, releases the bows. Okay. So you see how we've covered all the postures, we just haven't done the whole sequence. So I really recommend, hopefully you are doing the whole sequence, the inside, the yang side. It's probably best in the beginning to focus on only a few moves where you definitely incorporate bending the bow, cocking the bow, and a few movements where you really are very aware that you're breathing in a coordinated manner with releasing the bow. The other method is to entirely forget the bows, but at least be focusing on an out breath as your arms move away from you, and in breath as they move into you. Yeah? So it would be out breath, in breath, 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 out breath. If we reel that right back, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, step, out breath. Even with that, most people, including myself, can only focus on a few movements with a new piece of information, approximately 3 to 5, all right? 3 movements is often the maximum where someone can incorporate new information. Hence why I've broken this down sequentially across classes and only bringing in little bits of certain subjects at a time so you can integrate it. That's not to say that don't go into some kind of guilt mode about, oh, I haven't really got that together, oh, I really didn't pay attention, oh, I really should have done that, oh, what's the point, I'm going to be worms. Alright, okay. It's amazing what adults will do, very much like children when it comes to learning. So if you're not clear, I'll just say this again, if you're not clear about the sequence of the postures, if you're not clear how one movement changes into another, then go back and look at the other classes. Take your time, enjoy the process. And then come back to this class another day. I mean, as this is on film, this theoretically lasts forever. You know? Who knows when you're watching this? It's a lovely phrase in French, okay? Laissez-faire, and the other one, joie de vie, okay? Joy of life, laissez-faire, easy going. Okay. What is it to be breathing and moving in a way that's neither too collapsed nor too rigid? A nice balance where you can take your time, enjoy what you're doing, do something very nice for your body, your mind, your spirit. Without passing any judgment on it, okay? There's no judgment upon doing this right or wrong. There's simply, these are techniques to increase awareness, enjoyment, health, yeah, vitality, etc. To help if there are conditions of disease in the body, say the stiffness from arthritis or injury or illness, from surgery, okay? From minor illnesses to those that are quite complex. So we're going to finish off. It's been a great class. I hope you enjoyed it. Can always go back to the beginning of it. Okay, and go over some of those things. So we're going to cool down simply by shaking. Breathing. Okay, we're going to do the crane cool down. which you might even recognize now you're taking in the idea of bending joints, how this also incorporates the both. But if you just look at the level of breath, in breath, out breath, in breath. It's a really long one, this one. Out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. And then finishing, breathing naturally, hands over the belly. Relaxing. Loosening as you settle. Melting sensations from the top of your head through your body to your feet. Arms released to the sides. And there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time, or you'll see me next time anyway. Okay, take care now. Bye.